It is times like these where I should really script out my opening stuff here because god, I cannot keep this brief enough. Hey guys, this is GamerCal. We're going to do something a bit different with this now. We're going to actually experiment with drafting the set early for our TCG series here. So this is going to be my Gym Challenge draft, and there's a few reasons for it. Because we are playing with 6 players in this, scheduling is a nightmare, to be honest. It's actually kind of a miracle that we've managed to get everyone to play at the same time. You know, if anyone's ever tried to organize 6 friends and to do anything, you know how hard it can be. So it's kind of a miracle that this works in its own right, but it does introduce a lot of conflicts in terms of actual when we open the packs. Half of us already are opening the packs earlier because it's just scheduling is really the main thing. It's also a big server load to have like 6 people opening. We have this entire arena set up, as you can see, for all the hidden zones and everything, but it's a really big like server hassle for that, and we do not really have the CPU or internet like capabilities to make it actually happen. So we've already been kind of doing that. We've been posting screenshots to each other of the stuff that of our drafts that we actually look at later on, or you know, record videos for it, etc. So that's what I'm gonna do here. This will also give me a chance to actually talk a little bit about the set and focus more on like an overview and the battle stuff when it comes to the actual videos, the stream stuff on Saturdays. So I think that's going to be for the best. And, you know, we've been already kind of planning out decks as we go. Pokemon is a game where you sort of need to see, okay, what is here, what am I going to play? It takes more than like 20 minutes to build a deck, right? So to keep things flowing on the Saturdays, I think it's also good to at least have some of us do this early. So that is what we shall do. So I'm not going to go over every card here. I'm going to focus more on what we actually pull. But considering how degenerate this format can be with some of the stuff we've already seen, it does unfortunately get a little bit worse. I want to go over the 2 main things that cause this to be a bit of a crapshoot in terms of some games at the very least, not everything. There are some really cool cards, but for the most part, Chaos Gym and Erica's Jigglypuff down here. She doesn't have a Wigglytuff, but she doesn't need it, because man, this Jigglypuff is stupid. So I mentioned last time like how Surgispiro is really cool for being able to do 40 damage on one double colorless attachment if you flip heads. This doesn't need to flip heads, it just needs the opponent to not have damage on them beforehand, which first turn of the game, that's kind of a thing. So with all of the dump and draw stuff that we have seen so far, like Erica, Misty's Wrath in the last set, as well as your usual Bill, Professor Oak, etc., this thing could potentially get 4+ powers on it and hit 80 damage on the first turn. And that kind of is a big donk problem for the format. So, and it's at common. This thing is insane. And then Chaos Gym, we actually did see just a little bit, like, Matt was playing Dark Vileplume as well, but we didn't actually get to play him. But Kip played it, and it did come out against us, and we saw how nasty Trainer Lock stuff is. This isn't strictly Trainer Lock, but it functionally is, because who in their right mind is, unless they're desperate, is going to actually play Trainer whilst this thing is out. As you can read, whenever a player plays a training card other than the stadium, which this thing is, so it's a field spell basically, it stays in play, you flip a coin. If heads, you play the card normally. If tails, the user can't play the card, but if it's not like plus power or anything, the opponent gets to use it instead. And then it still goes to the discard. So if you play Professor Oak off of this and you flip tails, the opponent gets to choose if they want to dump their hand and draw 7. Same with stuff like energy removal with everything, basically. All of our consistency stuff. Even Pokemon Trader would be fine with this. So it basically just reads, if tails, your opponent wins the game. More or less. You know, it's so bad. And I think like computer search and whatnot doesn't stop you from playing it, but like, yeah, I guess you don't get to discard the cards. The opponent would have to discard them. But man, oh man, it's just like, why would you even play them at that point? It's ridiculous. There's other really good stuff in here as well, but like I said, I'm going to focus more on that in the actual stream stuff. But I have my 36 packs laid out here, so let's just see what we get. I'll talk about what we pull as we go and see what I'm actually interested in. So starting off with a kind of interesting one here, Sabrina's Alakazam is pretty cool. As long as you have this out, it has every other Psychic Pokemon attack that you have out. So this actually includes Cyber and Mewtwo, so you can Energy Absorption with this. It includes all of Sabrina's other major Pokemon, you know, she does have some other types of course, but mostly the stuff there. And then it has its own attack too, so it's like, you can't use Mega Burn in consecutive turns, but like, when you consider Double Colorless as a thing you can use with this, especially with Energy Absorption, doing 60 damage every 2 turns and then alternating to a different powerful attack is pretty good. But yeah, just an amazing opening card if you can get the Kadabra. The Kadabra is in this set and is also really good. Another one that's decent here, a couple that's decent actually to look at here. Master Ball is actually Great Ball nowadays, well, a downgrade, right? But yeah, look at the top 7 from your deck and then choose a Pokemon there, show it to the opponent, put it into your hand. So it is a bit random, but if you're playing enough Pokemon and you're playing like different Evo lines and stuff anyway, fantastic consistency card. Debatable whether it's not better than Trader, but it's a good supplement to it. Misty's Tears is pretty nice if you're playing like Blastoise or maybe for Alligator in the next set. Discard one of your cards from the hand to get 2 water energy from the deck. Double Energy Search is not too bad even if it does come at a discard cost. Sometimes that discard can actually be good. So there's the thing. Rocket's Minefield Gym is actually 2 damage counters is what you would place if you fail the coin toss. But this is a prototype to things like Team Magma's Secret Base later on, that or I guess ones that you could attach like energy and stuff with as well, like Frozen City and whatnot could also kind of come into play with that. But it puts damage counters down if the opponent, or if any player benches something and they flip tails. So that's kind of neat. The holo here, Giovanni's Gyarados, is it's not amazing, but it does have some potential utility. Summon Storm is just way too flippy to make work, but it would be really funny if you could. 20 damage to each other Pokemon. We actually got a there's not in this one, there's a Transparent Walls I think is a common that you could use to actually prevent your bench damage. Don't know if you actually would with this, but whatever. Dragon Tornado was kind of fun too, like it forces the opponent to switch, which is neat. There's a good Growlithe here if we do get the Arcanine. This can attach energy from the deck to itself, so that's nice. And then Fervor is quite good too if you play a lot of Fire Energy. Mill the top 3 cards out of your deck, but put any Fire Energy there into your hand, which is quite nice. Also got the Giovanni's Magikarp. This has got like Leak Slap from Farfetch way back in base, but it does 10 more damage for Colored Energy. Yeah, no, pretty cool. Alright, pack 3. Lieutenant Surge's Jolteon is one that I was actually interested in playing here. The Eevee is an uncommon, so it is a bit tricky, but this is the first one-sided trainer lock, I suppose. If you get heads for high voltage, your opponent can't play trainers their next turn. It's also kind of neat if you play enough defender. Like Thunder Flare is difficult if you flip tails, but it's a very powerful attack. It's got the rage aspect to it, so that's quite nice. Blaine's Dodrio is low-key very strong. Mostly because it hits for a double colorless, but also because of Recall in the previous set. The Doduo has Retaliate, which is just rage minus the 10 initial damage. And, I mean, 50 for one coin flip, if you could get it, is absurd, to be honest. It also can be powered up with Blaine itself, if we get that. Warp Point debuts in this set. This forces both players to switch their Pokemon. They get the choice as to which one gets switched in, but that is still really good. Next up, this is another one I actually really want here. Sabrina's Golduck. For 2 Psychic Energy, you shift 1 damage counter from each of your Pokemon that has damage on them to the defending Pokemon. It puts damage counters, so it doesn't actually do physical damage. This gets around Mr. Mime, but it works fantastically with the OG Alakazam that I have 3 copies of. So, you could potentially be shifting 6 damage counters a turn. It's absolutely absurd. Its second attack is not amazing, but if you're playing this, you're probably playing Rainbow Energy anyway, because you can damage shift that damage counter onto the opponent. So you'll probably be able to use it, and there will be times where the opponent just stops damaging you, and you can Water Spray to get through that. Sabrina's Psychic Control is somewhat interesting. You gotta flip heads for this thing, but it then lets you use a trainer card in the opponent's discard pile, so long as it's not, you know, put into play like, as it says, plus power or Mysterious Fossil. And that's kind of fun, so you could use the opponent's Professor Oaks and stuff. This could be an additional, like, copy of that. Somewhat neat card. Brock Sandslash is much better than the Sandslash from the previous set. We do have a good Brock package, so this could be worth playing. 30 damage and potential poison for 2 fighting energy is good. And Swift can, if you don't have the stadium in play, you can get around resistance that way. It's quite nice. So, pretty solid. Okay, there's at least a couple of good bits to talk about here. Misty's Wish is not really one of them. You might get a draw out of this. You get to look at one of your prizes. I guess the plus side is the opponent doesn't get to look at it. You could combine this with the Rattata from Rocket in order to switch that prize with, like, the top card of your deck, I think it is. So then you'd be able to know what your next top drawer is. I guess that's cute, but not really super worth it. Sabrina's Kadabra is really good. This, if you've got to flip heads with it, but we've seen this type of effect quite a bit. If you flip heads with this, the opponent has to put damage counters on until they have 10 HP left. Remember that you can Psylink this with the Alakazam too, so you don't have to play it from just the Kadabra. But this can combine with poison effects or stuff like Box Golbat, or even just Dark Golbat, in order to snipe damage afterwards, and actually be quite a good deck. So, pretty interesting. And then the Ponyta here. Blaine's Rapidash is actually low-key busted, and this Ponyta is a pretty good way of using it. It's kind of a hit-and-run attack. It's on a coin toss to hit and run, but like 20 damage for a double colorless, and then you might get to switch, is pretty good. So, happy enough to see that. Sabrina's Gengar is quite nice to see here as well. The previous one was a holo. The Haunter is really good, and Recall is still playable to get the Night Spirit's attack to work. But this card is just nice on its own. 20 damage, nullify Poképowers next turn. If the opponent is playing a lot of them that they need to trigger in their turn, this can be a good out to it. And then free Psychic Energy, 40 damage, they can't retreat next turn. You're probably going to trap them in and maybe just sneak KOs with that. It's pretty good. Another Master Ball is nice to see as well, so that's not too bad. Next 6, we have Box Protection. This is one of the funnier cards of the set. It's a tool before Pokemon tools came in. They came in the Neo sets, but that means it doesn't get discarded by like discarding tool card effects and whatnot. But essentially, this prevents your energy from being removed. Literally, it is no energy removal, but only for Brock Pokemon. There is Brock's Ninetales in this set, which is the famous card this kind of goes with. It's a holo, so we're probably not going to see it. But the Ninetales lets you transform into other evolution cards, basically. And it's still a Brock's Pokemon before it transforms. So you can protect your energy on them, which is quite nice. Another Gyarados, not really too stoked to see that, to be honest. Otherwise, I mean, the Mr. Mime is kind of cute. Like, you can snipe damage on one of the opponent's Pokemon. Gotta flip coins for it, but it's still pretty decent. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Let's see what else we get. Yo, there it is. There it is. 2 fantastic cards out of this one. Blaine's Rapidash, like I said, low-key busted. 1 Fire Energy, 20 damage is fine. Decent enough. Fire double colorless for 30, but if you flip heads, that's already okay damage. But if you flip heads, it does 40 and 10 to each of the opponent's bench Pokemon. It also doesn't have any retreat cost, and it's a respectable 70 HP. This thing is insane. Rocket Zapdos, on the other hand, is probably the best card of the set that isn't specifically like Chaos Gem. 20 damage on the Lightning, and it just gets one of those lightning from the discard pile onto itself, which is amazing. And then it's a very heavy self-damage on Electro Burn, but if we get Metal Energy in the next set, this will combine fantastically with it. It does do a minimum of 30 to itself at the moment, but that's for 70 for 4 on a basic that self-accelerates. Absolutely absurd card. That would be amazing to get more than one of. There's another really good one, though. Here's another one I want for later on. If I can pull enough of the actual Blaine card, this will be amazing. Blaine's Arcanine is the highest damage we have seen printed on a card yet. 120 for 4 Fire Energy. But you've got to discard 3 of them to use it. It's too expensive in this set. Next set, we have a Fire Acceleration potentially in the form of Typhlosion that you might be able to use it with. Heat Tackle is also okay though. Like, again, remember that the Growlithe over here can actually accelerate Fire Energy to itself. So you can get this powered up. 90 HP is pretty respectable, and it only does 10 to itself. So you can just like potion up and just keep going with this thing. It's 40 is pretty good for what it does then. 90 HP is big too. So yeah, very good card even at the moment. Koga, not so good here. I mean, it's, obviously we're focusing on the latter 4 of the trainers here. Koga just does poison, auto poison if you damage the opponent with a Koga Pokemon. Unfortunately, almost every Koga Pokemon is pretty bad, so we ain't really going to get to see that. So let's just move on. Second Sabrina's Golduck is amazing, actually. I really am interested to play the Alakazam deck. Blaine is the one that I want to play this round, but this is definitely something I am happy to see. So, going on to our third set of 6 here, we have How have we pulled 3 of this Gyarados? Come on! I am very happy to see the Rapidash though. I mean, even just Blaine's Rapidash and maybe Dodrio would be a fantastic enough option here. We just need a couple of the actual Blaine card too. Oh wow, a 4th one even. Giovanni's Last Resort is an interesting card if you have Machamp, I believe is the best one for this. You just full heal one of your Giovanni Pokemon, but then you discard your hand. The problem at the moment is that we don't really have any Pokemon-based draw options for this, and I think the main one that I can even, like, conceive of is in Aquapolis with Porygon 2, so we're not really going to get that for quite a while. You could maybe... No, you can't even use Dark Kadabra with this because it discards the card afterwards. So yeah, there's not really a lot that you can actually do with this right now in terms of getting your hand back. But Giovanni's Pokemon are big, right? Like, the Gyarados is 90 HP, the Machamp I think is 100, and the Nidoking is 120. So that's pretty strong. Rocket's Secret Experiment is also something we might see a couple of people try that don't have as many computer search as I do. You can search for any card that you want if you flip heads, but if you flip tails, you can't play trainers for 2 turns. So, awkward, but if you really need cards, that might be something that people consider. Erica's Venusaur, unfortunately not a very good card here. It takes too many grass energy to use. It does have its own potential acceleration here, like you flip a coin, and if you get heads, you attach 2 grass to it, but it just doesn't have a good enough payout. Two Pokemon on the opponent's bench take 20 as well, so it technically does 60 for 4 grass, the same as the original one, but my god, is 4 grass energy for 20 base damage just not worth it whatsoever. Keep an eye on this seal as well, by the way. This is a 1 energy, stop the opponent from retreating per turn. If you could combine this with Gengar and just like lock something in the active spot all the time, it'd be pretty fun. Alright, next one, Koga's Pidgeotto is not a particularly good card because it just takes up too much energy for not enough HP. He doesn't have a Pidgeot to evolve into either. Like, 4 Colorless Energy for 10 damage if you flip tails, that's just bad. 40 in, like, agility if you get heads is fine, but why could it not have just been, like, 30 base and just do that way? I don't know. Far too expensive for no real payout here. Cinnabar Gym is one that's worth looking at for me if I want to play Blaine, because it ignores water weakness, so that could be a tech card as well. Rocket's Mewtwo is an interesting one. Nice holo pick. I've got a lot of holos so far in this. Rocky's Mewtwo is actually a nostalgia card for me because I had this one in real life. First Pokemon in the game that has 3 attacks. Nowadays we don't even see that, it's kind of funny, but for a fair while Pokemon could have 3 or even maybe 4 attacks sometimes. There was an X-Cloud that did that. First one is Flippy, but again remember that the Alakazam could link with this and you could actually use these attacks there too. Swap the opponent's damage counters with your ones, even if it KOs the opponent, or you for whatever reason. Why you would do that, I don't know, but still, you could. 2 Psychic Energy, Flip for Sleep, 20 damage, kind of whatever. The big one, of course, if you can get 4 energy on this thing, it does 60 on a basic, which is quite insane, actually. Really strong power there. We've seen the Jigglypuff, so we don't need to worry about that. Brock's Primeape is interesting, mostly because it evolves from the Mankey that was good in the previous set, that like forces the opponent to switch for 1 colorless. If it has exactly 10 HP left, it shuffles itself back into the deck. So I guess you don't die with this, which is kind of neat. But it does some self-damage, but 60, even if it is free fighting energy, 60 is pretty big for free energy, so yeah, not too bad. Also discard Stadia, so you could maybe get rid of Chaos Gym there. Blaine's Charizard, that's an interesting one. I'd rather have the Ninetales, to be honest, but Charizard is quite cool too. So there's a couple of errors on this card. It's not with the second attack. Flame Jet is flipped to do 40 snipe, which is decent, I suppose, if you could get it. Only 2 fire energy for that too is quite good. The 2 errors on this card is that it discards all fire energy, obviously not fighting energy, but also that it actually doesn't discard the initial fire energy. It's supposed to only discard energy after the first one. So it does 20 for 1, but then every extra energy you have after that you discard and do 20 more damage. So it's fine. I think Flame Jet, if you could get it, would be really good, to be honest. But on a stage 2, is it really worth it? I don't know. The Charmeleon does have like a 30 for 2 fire on it, so maybe. I don't know. Right, let's move on, see what we get in our second half of the box here. Starting off with Giovanni's Pinsir, not exactly too good. This card does have a Misnomer and Errata on it as well. It's supposed to be 10 plus 20 damage on its first attack. That's still really bad though. And Overhead Toss is just awful because it might self-damage one of yours, which is not worth it for 40 damage. Just pretty awful card overall. Another Sabrina's Gengar is decent. I would consider playing that for sure. This Clefairy is kind of cool. Like, it's on a coin toss. I did get Erica's Clefable from the previous set. But it's on a coin toss. However, it lets you evolve one of your bench Pokemon. This includes first turn. So this could actually be something that's worth playing. I don't know. I'd have to consider it. Next up, another Koga. Not really too interesting. Sabrina's Hypno is kind of neat. Like, it has a revive for either player. Revive actually puts damage on the Pokemon as well, so you could damage stuff with it there. But also 2 Psychic Energy, flip coins for the number of damage counters on the opponent, on the defending Pokemon specifically, and do 20 damage times the number of heads. That's a lot of damage for not a lot of energy cost. And I guess the Drowsy also has an errata that's worth mentioning, if I can remember where it is. Because we did get one earlier, I just can't seem to see it here. Maybe I didn't actually. Huh. I was looking at it from the previous thing. Oh no, it's here. Duh. The Drowsy actually attaches the energy card that it has. It doesn't actually put it into the hand. So this thing is actually really good too. Could be worth it in a Sabrina focus deck. So that's neat. Alright, next up. There it is. Okay, we are going to get to see it. One of the most complicated cards in the history of the game, Brock's Ninetales. Okay, the attack is not worth anything, we're not going to bother with that. Once during your turn, you may attach an evolution card from your hand to the Ninetales. Doesn't count as evolving it, so you can do it the turn you put it down. You then basically ditto the Ninetales into that Pokemon, except you can't use the Pokemon power of the thing you've attached. You can discard it at any point, and by the wording of it, you could just reattach a new one, right? Because it's once per turn, but the once per turn is not on the detach. So that's kind of neat, I suppose. And it does, unfortunately, lose the Pokemon if you get statused. That's the big issue with it. But this lets you use powerful Pokemon that are otherwise very hard to get out on a stage 1 that has Brock's protection to prevent energy removal plays as well. Very, very cool card for the base Neo format. Don't know if I'd be able to use it here, but it's still very fun to see. Giovanni is also not especially worth talking about because you really need his stage 2s and stuff to make this work, but I guess it could work with a Gyarados? Because Gyarados does have a 1 energy attack. Basically it lets you evolve a Giovanni Pokemon up as either the turn you played it or like you can evolve it again. A lot of his Pokemon are stage 2s. He's got the Nidoking and Queen, he's got Machamp, and I think that's it. Yeah, I think his other ones are just stage 1s, but it's like, he's got a lot of stage 2 stuff you'd probably be playing through, so you could make an argument for using that. It's kind of is a fun card, if nothing else. Don't know if you'd actually want to, but hey, it's with all the deep draw in this set, it's kind of neat. Second Rocket's Mewtwo. Huh. That's kind of cool. One thing I haven't seen yet is any more Kadabra for Sabrina, which is unfortunate. If I was going to play the Alakazam, you need more than 1, right? Have we even seen that many of Sabrina's Psyduck, though? Because, I mean, there's 1 here. Yeah, okay, there's at least 2, so we've gone 1 for each yet. 12 packs left to go, no Chaos Gem or anything like that, but a lot of really cool cards at the moment. Another Erica's Venusaur doesn't really count as a cool card. The Bulbasaur I have seen, we've had a couple of. I think the Ivysaur was also... I've seen at least 1 of them down here. So, I mean, Erica's Maids is something I picked up in a previous set. It's possible, but not too likely, I don't think. Just because it's so expensive to play. Hey, self-acceleration though, who knows? Koga's Ditto is an interesting one. You have to flip heads with it, and if it gets benched, the effect gets removed. But if you can flip heads with this thing, then it does 30 damage instead of 10 for 1 energy, and it has 80 HP, which is actually kind of absurd. So, fun card, probably not very good, but still pretty fun. Giovanni's Persian, if you were to play the Giovanni engine, you might want this, because when you evolve it, when you evolve into it from your hand, you just search for Giovanni and get it into hand. So you could use this as like the engine to actually accelerate your evolution lines. Probably not worth, but it's funny nonetheless. A second Jolteon is good, but I don't think I've seen a single Eevee yet. Eevee is an uncommon, but we haven't got very many packs left to pull it, which is really awkward, to be honest. Like, got far too many of stuff like Rapidash here, so that's a bit yikes. This Vulpix is the better one if you do want to play Brock's Ninetales, so I guess that's good to see. Second Giovanni's a lot of hollows coming out here, but not necessarily a cohesive set right now. Nothing really to speak about there. A third Sabrina's Golduck. I think I might want to try out Alakazam in the testing stuff here. It's pretty good. Alright, 6 packs left. No Eevees, unfortunately. Sai had the same issue, actually, where he also didn't get Surge's Eevee, but got like 2 Jolteon. Fourth Giovanni's Gyarados. Are you for real? That's crazy. We haven't seen Misty's Dugong yet. This thing is somewhat interesting. Like, keep in mind that Misty is a double plus power. We got 2 of those last time round. If you are up against a fighting deck, it is 40 for 2, which is quite nice. Takedown is also pretty respectable, considering double colorless can power it up, so that's neat. Resistance Gym is fun. We haven't really seen a lot that actually gets this going, but effectively, this is an answer in Psychic decks to colorless Pokemon. So I probably would play this if I actually am playing that kind of deck. So, good stuff there. Really good for the Raticate Mr. Mime thing that Sai played last round. 3 packs left to go. There's a second Ninetales, actually. Huh. I mean, I was hoping to play Blaine's Ninetales, because that one's really cool, but honestly, the problem is I only have 1 Brock's Protection, right? But 2 Ninetales? That's pretty sweet. I could definitely see it working. Alright, 2 packs left to go. Let's see what we can do here as soon as it loads up again. We have... Brock's Dog Trio is not very good. So, the problem is that it has to use Lilo every second turn in order to use its big attack. It only has 60 HP, Lilo only protects against 20 damage, so really not that impressive, to be honest. Was it Koga's Ninja Trick was okay? Attach this to a Koga Pokemon. If it goes to the bench, discard it, but when the opponent attacks, you can swap out. Okay, yeah, that's cute, I suppose. Last one is another Ditto, and a Kadabra to finish things off. Okay, if I did want to play the Alakazam, then that is good to see. Otherwise, yeah, seems pretty good. Like this Abra is amazing as well, by the way. That quick attack for one Psychic is just like, dang. Super, super strong. Okay, so yeah, this one's been just about on the half-hour side. We're going to group up all of these. We're going to do the whole like filter thing and quickly see. Kind of funny, actually, how I ended up not really getting more Master Ball stuff, I don't think, after the first two. But that is fine. We can go with that, not a problem. Group these up. And yeah, we're more or less just gonna filter through them just so we can get a proper scope. I guess I should just do it this way. We'll just filter them up real quick, see what we actually have available to us, and go from there. So bring these in. I think I might need to put it slightly further on. Sort out. Actually, I should probably have done this one first. So we'll remove our duplicates. We will sort both of these just to make absolute sure. I think I've had a couple of times where this has messed up a bit, so we'll do that. Bring these up the top here. Ba-ba-da. And let's spread them and see what we're working with. Does take a little bit to actually load some of the spread stuff here, but that's fine. So our duplicates, we got like 6 of the Rapidash in the end, which is a little bit excessive, but whatever. A couple of Warp Points spare in case people don't get enough of them. Switch does rotate actually in a couple of sets time for just a little bit, so Warp Point would be one of our main switch outs. Lots of the Ponyta thing, which is really good. I guess the Seal could be interesting. Misty's Tears is an intriguing one to have an excess of. But yeah, the main thing is looking at what the actual set entailed here. We didn't get that much for Blaine. I didn't get any actual Blaine card, which is unfortunate. Blaine basically lets you attach 2 fire energy at the same time instead of 1 from your hand to like one of your Blaine Pokemon when you use it for the turn. So that's how you would power up your Dodrio in a single turn without DCE, or Blaine's Ninetales was the one I actually wanted to pull, which I also didn't get, because that does 50 for 2 fire, but if you flip Tails you gotta discard all energy on it, so, you know, kind of a powerful card if you could actually make it work, but we didn't get stuff for it. Whatever. Just wanted a Clefairy to go with that one Clefable, that's fine. Only one Arcanine is a little unfortunate. I could see it though. If I wanted to play Blaine, I'd probably play a 1/1 of that here. Charizard, little bit too low on that, I think. I've got a couple of the Charmeleon. This thing, if you have Blaine, actually can do a ton of snipe damage, but we didn't pull it, so kind of whatever. Mostly just Blaine's Rapidash would be amazing there. This Diglett does technically do 40 for, like, 2 energy. I could see me teching this into Alakazam if I play Rainbow with it, because you could then use that self-damage with the Golduck, so that's kind of fun. Yeah, maybe. A couple of the Venusaur with enough Ivysaur to make it work. So, debatable. I mean, it's still very, very expensive, but I could see it maybe working. I have enough Erica Surge stuff that maybe I'll test it out, who knows. Couple of Koga's Ditto if I want to go a fun route with that. Otherwise, we didn't get any... I would say we didn't get any good Koga Pokemon, but there aren't really many. The best that you could get is the Muck, which has like a flip for energy removal effect on its on itself. We've got 4 Gyarados. Like, how does that even happen? I wonder. I mean, maybe I'll try and do something fun with that too. No Eevee to go with the 2 Jolteon here. Very, very sad for that, actually. The Eevee was an uncommon, but it is super strong. So, really wish I'd have had that. Couple of Master Ball for our searching stuff if we want. Rocket's Mewtwo is a fun one to see here, and then the Zapdos as well. Kinda wish these were flipped the other way around. This Zapdos is absurd, but the Mewtwo is also really powerful, and I will probably try and play this if I play Psychic. As far as the other stuff goes here, we didn't quite get a full playset of the good Ghastly here. This one gets 10 extra HP for all the psychic energy that's on it, so, and its attack is just generally quite good too. So if you can just maintain attachments to this thing, it's actually really good. Pairs like the Gengar's quite nice here, but triple gold up really makes me interested in playing Alakazam here. Like base Alakazam. That is definitely something I need to test. And a couple of the Kadabra in the end to play with the Alakazam. That's probably enough. I mean, I only have one Pokemon breeder right now. I was trying to trade for one before I got this set opened. But it's hard because people don't have that many, right? Otherwise, yeah, pretty okay overall. Fair few things that I missed. We'll go over some of them on the actual day of the draft here. But I have a few decks out of this that I could make. And I think at least a couple of them are really good. This Jigglypuff is also a butt. Kind of sad that like we got 4 of the Gyarados instead of a couple of like Brock's Protection here or something. But I can't really complain. We've got a lot of holos in here, a lot of good ones as well. And yeah, I will have to make some fun stuff up for that. So I will still be streaming some like test deck stuff as we go, and then of course the Saturday will be the next part that goes up on YouTube when you know, processing if that happens. So yeah, see you on the draft day, I suppose.